A talking cat. Now I know what you're saying. Everybody's reviewed this. What can you add? I could add this. You weren't expecting that, were you? No, but seriously, this movie is really weird. Not as weird as The Thingy, though, which, if you've not seen my review on The Thingy, go to my old channel and find my review on The Thingy. It is a strange movie. This movie starts with a cat and an inner monologue voiced by Eric Roberts, who sounds like he's coming from a bathroom or some sort of cave, which Eric Roberts might live in some sort of cave, knowing Eric Roberts, who spends all his money on tequila and blackjack. Then we meet Phil, who has just sold his company so he can retire, and his son Chris, who I swear is the gayest guy to ever be interested in women. It's like if Liberace wanted to be interested in girls, which I'm sure Liberace did not. And he is afraid of women, which of course he is. He is actually gay, which he is not in this movie, but the guy who plays him is really freaking gay. And it comes through in his performance. Then we meet Susan and her two kids, Tina, who has built something on the internet, which will someday wipe out all of mankind. And Trent, who is the only person who is a believable teenager in this whole film. We later meet Franny, the girl Chris is tutoring in English, who doesn't read, like, at all. He's like, what's the point of reading? And I believe that is a believable teenager sentence. And wants Chris to just tell her what's in the books. And my answer would be paper. So eventually, Duffy starts talking. And he talks to Tina and tells her to go on her computer, where she sees Phil has retired and sold his company. Then he talks to Phil and tells him to go walk in the woods. Luckily, there are no hunters in the woods because Phil is not wearing an orange vest. Where Phil meets Susan, and they spark a romantic interest in each other. Then he talks to Trent, and he tells him where his collar is. Now, all these other people he's like helped, and Trent's like, this is where my collar is. How that helps Trent, I don't know. But Trent is the only one not thinking he's insane for talking to a cat. The rest of them are like, I'm insane at this point. Later he talks to Chris and tells Chris to get off his ass and do something. This all comes to a head when Susan has a big investment meeting at a toy company that she is catering. And she counts on Tina to make her cheesy poofs. Now, if Cartman was around, he'd go, I want cheesy poofs! Which he hasn't said in a good 12 years. And Phil comes along and drops her cheesy poofs. And Cartman then shows up and beats Phil with a stick and goes, bad, Phil, bad! So Tina has to make cheesy poofs, but Tina really wants to talk to Phil about the things she built on the internet that will eventually take over the world. So she follows Phil to his house, lying that she had her mother's permission, and makes cheesy poofs and talks to Phil. Meanwhile, Susan comes home, and Tina is nowhere to be found. because Phil secretly buried her body in the woods. So she sends Trent to go find Tina to Phil's house, because Phil, of course, told Susan where he lives earlier, because he's not afraid of being stalked, which he should be. And Trent shows up and decides to swim, instead of dragging Tina by her by the pussy, back home, and shows Chris how to swim, because Chris cannot swim, which is really weird, because I thought gay people were good at swimming. I don't know if that's racist or not, because I have no idea if there is a stereotype that gay people are good at swimming, or I don't know. I just made that up. I don't know. I have no idea where I was going with that. So back to the story. So then Susan shows up at the house and yells at everybody, including Duffy the cat, and tells Phil, don't come around no more. So Duffy goes to make right with Susan. By the way, he can only talk to any person once, at which point Duffy gets hit by a car, and Duffy is dead. And so they all memorialize Duffy, and that's it. No, that Duffy is not dead. Duffy is not dead. This is a children's movie. They do not kill cats in children's movies. Duffy is injured, and so Phil and Chris come over to Susan's house to see Duffy, and Trent's like, I know where his collar is. Maybe that'll help him. So they all go looking for the collar, and they put on Duffy, and Duffy is fine again. And then Susan says she lost the toy company job, and Phil's like, well, I invest heavily in that toy company. So he gets Susan the job, and they all become one happy family at the end. And that is a talking cat. And by the way, Duffy can talk to none of them again. So I don't know why Duffy hangs around. But that is the movie. It is as strange as it sounds. So here's a word from our sponsor. Hair all messed up? Don't want to wear a hat? Get a comb. If I can get it out, get a comb. Just one quick swipe. And you got a good hair day all day, thanks to a comb. Available at retailers everywhere.